In line with President Marcos's order for a sweeping crackdown on corruption in public works, the Bureau of Internal Revenue has begun a parallel investigation of contractors implicated in irregular flood control projects. With us now for more is Romeo June Lumagui Jr., Commissioner of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Good to see you, Commissioner June. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Kathy, and thank you for guesting me in your show.
All right, so what's the progress so far in the fraud audit?
Well, we've already issued the memorandum. We've conducted the initial steps like issuance of the letters of authority that will start the formal audit process. And we've also coordinated or communicated with different government agencies already.
So how many are you currently investigating, sir, and which ones are being prioritized?
Right now, we've started with the 15 contractors that were declared. And the priority for us is those involved in ghost projects because that is clear fraud. That's why we start from there. But of course, it's just the beginning. We will audit all companies involved here, not just the 15, but it depends on where we will go or what we will see eventually as the audit progresses.
And you've made a description there of ghost and fraud. What common flags then or patterns are you noting among the contractors being audited? I mean, are you dealing with, say, fake receipts, under-declared income, or even questionable luxury purchases, for instance, that the public should be aware of at this moment?
Well, that's right. Those three are generally the scheme, like underreporting the revenues, that's one. But since I think this is a government project that I'm not sure if they had that audacity to undeclare or underdeclare their revenues, considering that it's easily verifiable from government agencies how much their revenues are. So definitely in that aspect, we will coordinate with the government agency involved or all government agencies that we will get all the revenues of these contractors. And of course, number two is the expenses. They inflate their expenses, they make up expenses and use fake invoices. That's why we have already uncovered different or several contractors using ghost receipts. And again, ghost receipts are essentially issued by companies or ghost companies that are really just established for the purpose of issuing receipts, and they don't have legitimate business. They don't offer any product or service, and it's meant to support the fictitious expenses like these ghost projects, because ghost projects like the one that has been that we've been discussing by or disclosed by DPWH as well. There's really no project to speak of. I mean, they did not do anything. They did not construct or they did not spend for anything in regard to that project. That's why they have to resort to the use of ghost receipts to make sure that their expenses are quote unquote documented. So we're checking that, and we're also checking their assets.
Exactly to your point, sir, establishing a paper trail is key, and oftentimes one will find that there may be none. You've talked about working with other agencies. Certainly you can't go it alone. So how is the BIR going to determine now whether a contractor has, as what you said, either underpaid taxes or maybe even engaged in tax evasion for these ghost projects? And which agencies are you going to be collaborating with to get the specific documentation needed for the fraud audit?
Well, first, we will coordinate with DPWH because that is the agency that really knows how much they paid for or paid to these contractors. That's number one. Number two, we'll use also the asset method, like we will trace all their property. So we will coordinate with the Land Registration Authority. We will also coordinate with the Land Transportation Authority. For Land Transportation Office with respect to the vehicles. So we will trace all the assets of these companies and also the individuals or the shareholders, majority shareholders of these corporations, so that we will know if their assets match the income that they have been declaring.
And if a contractor is found to have evaded or underpaid taxes, what sanctions will the BIR impose?
First of all, the deficiency taxes will have to be paid. So that is the primary mission of the BIR, to collect taxes. So this fraud audit is the primary result that we want here, is that to make sure that they are paying the correct taxes. So we will assess them, the deficiency taxes, and we will collect these unpaid taxes. And number two, of course, since this involves fraud, we will file criminal cases for tax evasion against those individuals or corporate officers or directors that are found to be guilty of this tax evasion scheme.
Important to this parallel probe is the knowledge that there's also a probe happening at the executive and congressional level. So how are you planning to coordinate then your findings with the executive and legislative branches?
We will request for their reports, because I think their investigation will also be extensive. They've been inviting resource people, resource persons that who give a lot of information that can be useful to our audit. So we will coordinate with them and get all documents that they have, and we are also monitoring. We've been there, and we will make sure that we listen to all these hearings.
Have you got a timeline for that?
Well, not really a specific timeline, but we will make sure that we will do it as quickly as possible. Again, we have to give the taxpayers, these contractors, due process as well before we can file any case or issue a deficiency tax assessment.
Beyond the fraud audit, the overall goal really is for the BIR audit to help curb the systemic abuses. So what parallel reforms, if you will, are going to be needed in areas like, say, procurement, accounting, or interagency coordination itself to strengthen prevention?
As far as BIR is concerned, our main concern is whether these corporations have been are diligent in paying their taxes. That's why in the procurement process, tax clearance is a requirement. And so we issue tax clearances when there's no delinquency of on their tax payments, or there's no criminal case filed against these corporations. But unfortunately, I think we've seen a lot of fake tax clearances being submitted in different procurement entities. So one way is that maybe they should confirm whether these tax clearances are authentic, because some agencies are requesting us for confirmation whether these tax clearances are authentic or not. And we've seen several already that are fake tax clearances.
And the luxury vehicles of the Discayas, are you also beginning a fraud audit probe there?
Yes, we've begun our audit on these companies and on them. So it's ongoing. We hope that to conclude it as soon as possible.
Could it even be wider than what you know it to be, including maybe the Philippine Contractors Association board, as flagged by Senator Ping Lacson, and maybe even government officials, as the palace has just ordered a lifestyle check?
Well, it is possible. That's why, again, as I said, we will start with the 15 contractors. In fact, we've started with several contractors already, even prior to this disclosures. But it depends on where we will proceed. That's why what we will see so it will depend on what we'll do next, depending on what we see on this initial probe.
Just as a final point, Commissioner, have you begun the lifestyle check at the BIR as ordered by the palace to all government agencies?
We actually, it's really ongoing, because that's the commitment to our president to make sure that as far as BIR is concerned, we are compliant with our integrity and professionalism of the BIR.
All right, wishing you all the best in the ongoing audit, and keep us up to speed, sir. Commissioner June Lumagui Jr. of the BIR.